All right. Hello.
Hello.
How are you, Mr. Gilley?
Yeah, I'm very good. How are you all?
We're doing excellent. You want to say hello, everyone?
Hello.
We're really excited to have you. We just recently finished watching your documentary, and we here at the St. Andrews School were very inspired by the work that you've done, and we just really feel honored to be able to meet with you today. So thank you for making the time.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure. The honor is as much yours as it is mine. Your classroom is incredibly colorful.
Yes. In fact, it sort of has a peace theme. Let's see if we could show it. We've got some peace flags and some, that's our American flag gone all peace sort of there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
So,
it's absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Wonderful. What an inspirational room.
Thank you.
Cool.
This is, we're a fifth grade class, and just to bring you up to speed with us, we're a fifth grade class. We're speaking to you from South Florida and beautiful Boca Raton.
Wow. Wow. And is it, you're all in t-shirts. Is it warm in southern Florida?
Yes.
Well, it's freezing here in London. Yeah, really cold.
Yeah, it's probably about, I don't know, about 25, 27 degrees centigrade right now.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, listen, let's get into it. I mean, I know that we've got about 25 minutes or something. So I think the best thing to do is about the Day of Peace. You know what we're trying to do. We're trying to tell the world about the day. We told about 750 million people in 2013. People like you are helping us to be able to do that. We want to tell 1.5 billion people in 2014. We're utilizing all kinds of tools to be able to do that. Film and music and education and sport and very large coalitions of NGOs and domestic violence organizations and faiths and corporations. So let's talk a little bit about what you guys thought about it all, and do you have any questions?
We actually do have a couple questions. Do you want, why doesn't Sweet Michael come up to the podium here? Go on up. Yep.
During the process of trying to get the Peace Monday project a reality, did you ever feel helpless, like no one would ever agree to have peace for a day?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I did feel a little helpless, and sometimes I felt like the journey was going to be too tough, and there were some very difficult things that we needed to deal with and try to understand, in the kind of world of international politics and finance and all kinds of relationships that we needed to build and important people that we needed to get involved. So there are many elements that made it challenging. But I look at things as if, when it's challenging is when I think it gets interesting. And I think that, you right now at school, that you're going to face lots of challenges at school and in your community and sometimes at home. And those challenges, you should never be afraid of them. You should embrace them. And you should do all you can to get a good result. But never be afraid of failing. Never be afraid of falling down. Because whenever you fail or whenever you fall down, when you get up and carry on, then you're stronger and you're wiser because of the experience that you've had. So I look at failure as almost as the key to success. And that really answers your question. So did it ever get me down? No. Because when it got tough is when it became exciting, because I had to work harder, and you would have experienced that in your life already. Sometimes you're learning for an exam, it's very tough, and you have a choice. You either give up and say, I can't do it, or you say, no, I got to work harder, I got to understand this, and that's how I'm going to get a good result. So whenever I got down is when it became interesting, and I carried on.
Thank you. That was very good, Sweet Michael. I just want to interject something really quick, if I may, is that when we were watching your documentary, one of the things that we took away from it, and that one of the lessons that I shared with the students, is that what's really impressive is that this is not something that, guys, that he spent a couple of weeks at or a couple of months at. There's something that Jeremy's been working on for years and years and years. And if there's something that you're passionate about, you need to dedicate the time to it. And as Jeremy said, the failure, that's a part of the process. And it doesn't matter if we're talking about, trying to make peace in the world, or we're trying to make one person feel better, or we're just trying to be successful at our jobs or at school. It's the determination. It's also putting the real effort into it. And not just, I tried real hard for a week and nothing happened, but we're talking about, Jeremy, we're looking at somebody here that's, a living proof of someone who is really dedicated, themselves to what they're passionate about. And that's been really inspirational for us. So we thank you for that lesson.
Good. Well, I'm pleased. I think, what you've just said is absolutely right. I mean, that is in essence, that is the very heart of what this is all about. It's all about when you have a vision, that, never give up, keep trying, and be patient and committed, because, you can always get to the top of the mountain. You just sometimes have to find a different route.
Who else did we have? Kayla? Were you on the... Kayla, come on down.
Come on down.
Have you ever been afraid to put the idea of peace one day into the world?
Was I ever afraid?
Yes.
No. I think that it's a very, it's kind of a similar answer to the answer before. I think there is a saying, and I think a man called Paulo Coelho wrote it in a book, and I think it's from a book called The Alchemist, which is a lovely book you might want to read one day. It's called The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. And in that book, there is a line that he writes, and he says, the fear of suffering is worse than the suffering itself. The fear of suffering is worse than the suffering itself. And that's a very interesting phrase, and your teacher can talk to you more about that another day. I mean, I think that, when you're frightened and you have fear, and sometimes that can become like you're nervous, then that's a very interesting energy, and you can refocus it, and you can rename it, and you can call it something different. And it's an energy that you can use to drive your passion to achieve your goal. So we can lots of times we get frightened about things, like if you're running a race, or if you're doing an exam, or you have to sing a song. You have that fear. You're sometimes a little bit frightened. But what it does is it makes you focus. It tunes you in. And I think that fear is something that can be, it can also have a very positive meaning, because it makes you really concentrate. When you have to jump out of a plane, you might be really fearful. But when you jump out of that plane, you're sure going to concentrate on where to pull that ripcord so the parachute opens, right? So fear can make you concentrate. And so, yes, I was fearful at times on this journey, but I used that fear in a constructive way. I made it make me focus so that I would achieve my goal.
Thank you.
That's great. Landon, you want to come down? This is Landon.
All right.
When you heard the people of Afghanistan say we will make peace on September 21st, how did it make you feel and Jude feel?
Well, it made us feel incredibly pleased and very proud that we had gone over to Afghanistan, and we had asked lots of people to become involved in the process, and everybody became involved in the process. It was a dream come true, and the incredible men and women from the United Nations and from other sectors of society made it a success. It was a huge team effort, but I felt very, very, very pleased and very proud. I'm very pleased for all of the hundreds of people, almost thousands of people, who had been supporting Peace One Day over the years. It was a wonderful moment. And it really was great, because, it meant that we could then tell the world how successful this day was. And at that point, I knew that the day had a chance of really being recognized by the people of the world, because it was working. When something works, then naturally other people want to use it. And so the day is a great opportunity for people.
That's excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think do you have time for a couple more?
Yeah, of course.
All right, let's have Nadi. Nadi, you want to come down?
Yeah, we got 15 minutes. We're fine.
Excellent.
If you could have eliminated one obstacle that got in the way of helping Peace Day come along, what would it be?
I would say, well, it's a very, very, very good question. And I think that, I'd say, I mean, money is an obstacle, because if you don't have enough of it, then you have to struggle. I'd say money, fueling the machine, like you have a car, you got to put fuel in the tank, otherwise the car doesn't drive along. It's the same with the Peace One Day organisation. If you don't have funds, then the organisation can't run. So a lot of my time is spending time on generating funds. And right now we're in a very strong position because Howard G. Buffett and the Howard G. Buffett Foundation just gave $10 million to Peace One Day. So we're in a very strong position, and our car can, move quickly right now. But no, money was an obstacle. I think that, other than that, most people have been very receptive to the idea and wanted to support the idea. And the reason why it's a success is because so many people have believed in it. Thank you for your question.
That's excellent. I have a couple of quick things that I want to interject or ask. The first thing is, we saw sort of the humble beginnings, where I think the meeting at the Globe Theater there. So how many years did it take, or how long did it take before it sort of took off and became recognized? Just to give the students sort of an idea of how long it sort of takes to go from the beginning of an idea to where we are now.
Well, in 1998, I had the idea of wanting to make a film about peace. In September 1999, so after a year of preparing, I launched the campaign to create the first ever day of ceasefire and non-violence with a fixed calendar date. 2 years later, the resolution was voted unanimously by the member states of the United Nations. 5 years later, the first ever ceasefires took place. And then 6 years after that, we've managed to tell about 750 million people. In the next 3 years, we'll tell about 3 billion people. And at that point, the day will pretty much be self-sustaining, i.e., like Mother's Day, which was an idea by an American woman called Mrs. Jarvis. She had an idea called Mother's Day, and that idea is celebrated now all over the world. But nobody knows about Mrs. Jarvis. Everybody just knows that it's Mother's Day. And the same will be true of Peace Day. They won't know about Jeremy, or they won't know about Peace One Day. They'll just know it's Peace Day. And that's all that's important. We're trying to make the day famous, not ourselves. So in your school, it's very likely that because of you being a very conscientious teacher, and the pupils around you being as well, really caring about peace and sustainability, and therefore wanting to know about this day, it's likely that your school from now on will always celebrate the 21st of September and do activities around the issues of peace and sustainability. What that means is that it's self-sustaining within your environment. It doesn't need Jeremy anymore, and that's what we want to see happen. We want to see that happen in the schools of America. We want to see that happen in the schools of the world. And that is what we're seeing the beginnings of. About 10% of the world's population know about the day. About 30, 40, 50% will know about it in 3-4 years' time. And at that point, I truly believe it will be self-sustaining. And that's what we want to see happen. Because as a consequence of that, the reporting that we're doing, on Peace Day, lives are saved. But there is what's called behavioural change. If you take Mother's Day, for example, on Mother's Day, everybody in that classroom, when it's Mother's Day, you go home, you give your mum flowers, you make sure you have a lovely dinner, you maybe do the washing up, you really take care of your mum that day. That is called behavioural change, i.e. you're changing your behaviour to make a situation kind of perfect. The same is true of Peace Day. But in the example of Peace Day, because people are involved in peaceful activities, i.e. they're being more peaceful to those around them, it means that there's a decrease in violence, because it means that people might not be bullying. So about 4% of the 750 million people involved in 2013 would have behaved more peacefully. That's close to 30 million people not being involved in violence. That is a staggering, groundbreaking number in relation to decreasing violence in this world. So you guys have got to know that when you hold an activity in your classroom, and when you tell your friends, you are peacemakers. You are the peacemakers of this world, not the governments. Because actually the greatest violence that's happening in this world today is happening in our homes and in our communities and in our schools and in our workplaces. It's not with a gun. It's when somebody pushes somebody, or when somebody hits somebody, or when somebody verbally abuses somebody, or when somebody sends a nasty text. That's why we all have the power to be peacemakers. We can protect those around us. We can make sure that nobody's unhappy, that nobody's being bullied, that our family are close, that we're saying sorry. That's what peacemaking's all about. That's why you can all be involved. That's very exciting.
It really, and there's just so much of what you said just sparked up a lot of sort of things that we talk about in this classroom. First of all, boys and girls, we're talking with somebody who's really affected some real meaningful change and inspired a lot of people to really, help bring peace to this world. And that's something that's so important. And so this is really, the more we sort of delve into this and the more we sort of look at your work and now speaking with you, the more sort of inspired I know that I am, and that we sort of, again, just to repeat what I've said, this is just so great for us to be with you. But also, you said something that was really interesting, and actually we were just talking about this yesterday in our philosophy course, where we were talking about altruism. We were talking about, why does somebody do something nice? Is it for the recognition? Does that matter if someone does something nice for somebody else because they're expecting something in return? But did you guys pick up on the fact that Jeremy said that his goal is essentially to become redundant, to become irrelevant? His goal is to remove himself from the picture so that we won't even need him anymore. And so I think that that's a great example when we talk about altruism, someone who gives up themselves because they really care about the cause, and it's not about expecting something in return. So you just gave us an incredible example to sort of sink our teeth into and sort of continue to talk about, that sort of, that notion of altruism and what it really means to give of yourself. So that's really great. Thank you again.
Fantastic.
Do we have any other questions? We had some pre-selected questions, but everyone had written down a question. I think we have some time. Let's hear from, I think we heard from two ladies. So let's hear from two boys at least. Here comes Kobe. You can ask whatever you want. Yeah, you don't have to check with me. That's all right.
Okay. When you were in Afghanistan, did you ever worry maybe there might have been someone that tried to hurt you? Maybe.
No, I don't ever worry about those things. I think that like I said earlier, when you're worried is when you got to concentrate. And sometimes you will be worried about things, but you just concentrate when you're worried. And, just stay focused and stay strong and, just kind of keep climbing, keep climbing the mountain, keep walking down the corridor, just kind of just be strong. And most of the time, the fear of what you're worried about, never really happens, And so for me, I think that you can do things sensibly. You don't need to take risks. So when I'm in Afghanistan, I'm not trying to take a photograph of somebody who's firing a gun. So I'm not putting myself into that situation. I'm putting myself into a situation of wanting to go into people's homes, wanting to go into their communities, wanting to go into their offices, wanting to go into their schools. And I want to talk to people about the opportunity the day creates. And that obviously lowers the risk. I'm not into, I'm into great, positive, constructive conversations. There's always a risk, whatever you do. There's a risk for you. There's a risk for me. I go home tonight. I get on the bus. I cross the road. I drive my car. There's always a risk that something can happen. And I think life's just about staying positive and staying focused and, just going for it. You can do what you want to do and just stay committed. So I don't worry. I just keep going. But thank you for your question.
Welcome. I are there any present-day technologies that you wish you had to help you succeed when you were doing this?
Yeah, what, at the beginning? Well, is there technologies that are available now that I wished I had at the beginning? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a really smart question. And there is, technology is making a massive difference now. I mean, look at us. We're on Skype. You know, I feel like I'm in the room with you. You feel like you're in the room with me. We can see each other. We're having a human interaction. It's meaningful. And that's very special technology, which is allowing us to be in each other's environments right now. That technology allows us to, share information. And in sharing information, we're understanding more about each other, and that's creating a more peaceful world. And so I think the mobile phones, I think the way that we can take photographs, the way that we can make films, the use of email, of websites, of applications that I can put on my phone, the use of Facebook, the use of Twitter, the use of Instagram, the use of YouTube, about being able to show my films on YouTube. All of these technologies are very much bringing the world closer together. They're very much allowing us to share information quickly, cheaply, and this is profound. I was with somebody the other day that they said they had so much hope. They were a historian of war. They knew everything about war. And I said, why are you such a hopeful person when you know so many terrible things about the world? And he said, I'm so hopeful because of technology. Technology is bringing us together. It's making everybody very accountable. Nowadays, you can't do something without somebody else knowing about it very quickly. That's good news. So, yeah, technology is really, driving some very positive changes in the world.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have time for another one or two?
Sure.
Okay, here comes Chase.
All right.
What was it like being from the first conference of 1,000 to now 750,000 people knowing about Peace One Day?
Well, it's quite overwhelming. It's very exciting. It's very similar to you're going to get through your school and you're going to get to the end of it and have your qualifications and being part of teams and sport activities. You're going to get to the end of it and you're going to feel really proud. Your parents are going to be really proud. No matter whether you're bottom of the class or whether you're top of the class, it doesn't matter. The point is that you worked hard, you did your best, and you got whatever results you got. And so you're going to feel a real sense of accomplishment. That's how I feel. I feel really proud that, I'm very humbled and very lucky to have gone on the journey that I'm going on. I very much respect the journey. And, I'm really pleased that I'm able to tell my little daughter, some good stories when she grows up. And I hope that will inspire her to do similar things in her life. I just feel very lucky, we're all very lucky. You guys are very lucky, you've got a beautiful classroom, you've got great clothes, you've got heating, and you've got water, and you've got food. Where I'm going to on Saturday morning, I'm going to the Eastern DRC. I'm going to one of the most dangerous, most horrific places in the world in relation to violence. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, in Eastern DRC, 5.4 million people have lost their lives since 1992. These are the greatest deaths anywhere in the world since the Second World War. And I can tell you that there are young children your age and younger who are carrying guns, who are carrying water, who are starving, who don't have any homes. I know that you know those things. And so you guys observing this day, and doing things with your friends and playing music and doing sport and poetry and art, you're really making a difference to the people around you and also in the rest of the world. So we need to unite, we all need to unite and come together, particularly in the name of those people who don't have the benefits that we have.
Well, we're with you 100%. I think we have maybe just one more question if you have time.
Fantastic.
Okay, here comes Lexi.
What inspired you to make a day of peace?
I think what inspired me was my camera, There's a saying where they used to say the pen is mightier than the sword. The pen is mightier than the sword. For me, the camera is. If you point the camera in the right direction, with the right question, you can achieve a lot. And so the camera was really inspiring to me that I could use it to make a difference in the world and record that process. So the camera, and also my grandfather, my mum and dad, my friends, Rosa Parks, Gandhi, Martin Luther King, JFK, Nelson Mandela, great people, great inspirational people, the Dalai Lama, amazing people. Your President Obama, your teacher, you guys, you inspire me. You know, I feel fired up, you know, that you guys are talking to me. We're talking about peace. You're all wanting to ask questions. You're inspirational. You're inspiring.
Thank you.
And what about that young boy who wanted to ask a question there behind you? Yeah, you. No, the young boy here, you're looking at me now. You wanted to come up? Come up. Yeah.
Oh.
Come on up. There comes Freezy.
Hey, Freezy.
When did you feel most successful in Peace One Day?
You know, I think that when the resolution went through and the world voted for the day, that was a great moment. You've seen that in the film, when the world voted for the day. I think when we received the letter from the Mujahideen about the Taliban, that was a great moment. I think this year was a great year. So many people were aware of the day. But, you know, just like talking to you guys, I feel the same kind of like sense of achievement right now in this moment as I did, you know, when the resolution went through. You know, you guys are, you know, you're the future. You're the leaders of our world. You guys can make the difference. You can make peace at home and peace at school and peace in your community. And, you know, you're the generation that's really going to, you know, going to hold together a very different world. I can tell you guys that no matter what you see in the news, when it scares you, just know that there's a lot of hope out there. That great change is happening. That we're becoming more and more peaceful all the time. And you guys can be a part of that. So make sure on Peace Day you do great things, look after the people around you, spread the word. You know, you're doing wonderful stuff.
Well, thank you so much. Thanks. You know, we're with you, as I say, 100%. We're definitely going to find a way to celebrate Peace One Day on a school-wide level. We're a JK through 12 school with about 1,300 students, so we're definitely working to make this something that's a part of our school. And we just want to join in. And, you know, this has been, you know, you're just a very, very special person. And we're so happy that we had this time to share with you. And we hope we see you again.
Okay. Well, good luck, everybody.
Thank you so much.
See you later.